Hello, I'm Rex Childhouse, and because things on the internet lose their date, today is actually Thursday, March 23rd, 2023, and this video will be up on YouTube probably in a couple days. I have several to produce, so I'm doing the intros all today. On last week, we made a trip to Mesa, Arizona to watch the White Sox at the Cubs and Cubs at the Cubs spring training field, Sloan Field. While we were there, we went over to the world's largest firefighting museum, Hall of Flame, Phoenix, Arizona, and spent a couple hours. And we're going to show you this. This is a neat museum. If you're going to go there, I think admission for us as seniors, they don't give a discount for AARP or for military, which I have both cards in my wallet. They don't give a discount for those, but they do give a discount for seniors, and I think it's $10 a person. Whatever it is, I thought the admission fee was appropriate, and the museum is neat. If you're planning to go, I'm a sign reader. I like to stand. I like to read the signs. I like to look at the equipment. I thought the signage in the museum was really good. I would like, if I had a preference, I would like explanations as to how things worked. I like to know how things work. I like to know what makes them do the things that people want them to do. And I understand most of it just because of exposure in general education. And we didn't get to watch the videos because we were there Friday morning, March 10th, and we had tickets to the White Sox at Cubs training field later for a 105-110 first pitch. So we were there for about 2 hours. I'll show you some of the photos. I think it's a very clean museum. I think it's nicely located, well taken care of. The docents were fantastic, and it actually has an association with what we are doing later in the day. It seems, and I think I might have her name wrong, but it's Dorothy Wrigley, who was one of the major sponsors or initiators of the museum, or contributors, whatever. And I think it's Dorothy, don't hold me to that. But the daughter of the guy who did Wrigley Gum and Wrigley Field, the Cubs, and she was a major player, evidently. I didn't remember the details, but major player in getting this museum going. And fire department, and the museum's really cool. The docents will answer questions for you. I thought they were very appropriate when we did ask questions. It's a very nice, well-lit museum, good for photography, as you'll see. Good for kids. They ask you not to touch the equipment. We were watching people touch the equipment and whatever else. Generally try to avoid that. Anyways, if you're going to go, easy to get to. Our GPS took us right there, and so did our Google Earth or Google Maps or whatever it is that we use in our car. We use both our Garmin GPS and Google and Waze. Free parking. Nice museum, and we're going to show you some videos. I would actually like to go back and spend probably 3 to 4 hours there. We do have relatives in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, so we just may be doing it. Let's get on with the videos, and we'll get you there. I thought it was a great museum. Plan on 3 to 4 hours. Thanks for watching. When you check into the museum, they give you this flyer to go with it. Really nice, double-sided. It shows a lot of the stuff about the museum, and you're going to be viewing 4 or 5 halls along the way. This is the entrance to the museum. There's some signage outside the museum, some display stuff outside the museum that kids can play with while you're waiting if you get there before it opens. There's a number of different displays and types of equipment throughout the museum, all very nicely presented. This one here has a nozzle, what's called a mouth trumpet in some things, megaphone in others, and why it's there, and it explains it in the signage. The fire commander, the fire chief, whoever's there, is trying to communicate over the noise of equipment, over the noise of other firemen shouting back and forth to other people in the background making noise, buildings falling down, the fire roaring, whatever else. Really nice signage throughout this museum. This is just a general picture of what this museum looks like once you get inside. Really nice layout, well lit, well spaced, whatever. So we're looking at, in this one here, we are looking at really nicely restored, and I'm going to try and find the signage for it. Really nicely restored water's hand or horse-drawn pumper, and among other things, it's got an internal combustion engine attached to it. Really nicely restored. You look at it, and somebody's put a lot of work and effort into this system. Everything we found in the museum was associated with the firefighting profession. These may have been toys, may have been memoirs, may have been gifts, may have been awards, whatever. So they're there and they're well maintained. Another interesting photo of just how much is in this, and this is just one room of, as I said, 4 or 5. And in the center of the picture you see that gray hose thing coming up and then going from left to right. That's the suction hose for one of the pumpers. So, and it's explained in the signage as to what this is. This is a parade wagon, and it shows it in the signage. It explains it, 1870. Just hey, let's go out and have some fun. Really beautiful. This fire chief car is a Model T, 1926, and when the Model T came out, Ford produced it for a number of years, not like we do nowadays where we change the model every year. Ford produced it as a 2-door car, a 4-door car, a touring car, a roadster, a pickup truck, whatever. It was the same basic chassis. Really nicely restored. This guy here is a aerial ladder truck, 1890 time frame. And when you look at this stuff, patented, this aerial was patented by the Chicago Fire Extinguisher Company, which we're from Chicago, and it was for the Chicago Fire Department. So kind of caught our attention. Sold to Benton Harbor, Michigan. We've been to Benton Harbor, Michigan. Stuff like this has ties back to us, and we found this kind of cool. When you look at this, though, it covers a lot of volume, but there's not a lot of mass because of the way fire ladders are constructed. And if you read the signage too, it mentions Alpena, Michigan, and if you're a home improvement, Tim Taylor, Tool Time fan, they have and they mention Alpena, Michigan in one of their shows. This guy here, in the Navy, we have OBAs, oxygen breathing apparatus. We have the rescue hood and some other stuff. This is a German bellows smoke mask, come out of Great Britain, and the sign for it shows how it was used. You have to do something. Your job is to save lives, and primarily save lives. And after you save lives, then you protect property. We were looking at this and said, this is kind of fun. It's a Pung fire display. It's the Algonquin word for sled, and it was a modified Studebaker wagon built around 1890 by a blacksmith for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Kind of cool. Lots of interesting stuff around this museum. As I said, I would love to have spent probably 3 to 4 hours there. Unfortunately, we were en route to a baseball game where the White Sox beat the Cubs. My wife's standing in front of a steamer, and the steamer was designed to replace the hand pumps and give you more water pressure. And you see the 2 hoses above my wife's head. The big hose is the suction hose, the little hose is the pressure hose. When this comes out of the station, as the signage tells you, there's usually 2 or 3 people on it. The one driver, if you notice the seat, only holds one driver, one person.
and it's pulled by 2 or 3 horses, and then a stoker and an engineer, or just an engineer, hanging on the back. And it was kept in the ready. It was kept with hot water while it was in the station, so it was ready to respond. And if you and I tried this and it worked on my phone. If you open this QR code, there's a really good video on how this thing works and what it does. Really cool. It's stuff like this that makes it go. We didn't do the video thing till we got back to Chicago, or back home, Ramona, and did it. Okay, this beautiful red fire engine comes out of Burlington, Iowa. American LaFrance Senior 400 triple 1938 time frame. Beautiful restoration job. Really like the fact that these things, a lot of them have their hoods open so you can see the engines. There's pictures up on the wall throughout this, and trying to date when this picture was taken would be interesting. I'm going to say it's probably mid-1950s. See all the firemen sitting in the back. Aerodynamic design to the truck. If you look in the upper right window, there's a window air conditioning in this building. I'm going to say it's probably maybe a 1957, I'm just guessing, 57 type time frame picture. Cool looking truck. Interesting truck. We come up to some more to show a variety of what's in this place. This American LaFrance Type 40 chemical truck, 1924 time frame, owned by the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad, and they bought rigs to protect their right-of-ways. When railroad ties burn, trains have a bad habit of derailing, so chemical, you put chemical A, chemical B together, they generate a gas. The gas is used to press water through the system. Come up to another interesting one, and the first thing that caught me was how international is spelled on this. So in reading the signage, and it's an interesting truck, it's a British Merryweather fire engine, English, 1915 time frame, and it was sold to Lima, Peru, and then it came up to the United States. Kind of cool. And that thing on the back, I think, is to hold real hoses, and then you drop it by the fire hydrant, and then continue to drive the truck down the way. We flake them off the back now sometimes. So a white fire engine. I'd seen white fire engines before, and this one here was just absolutely beautiful and really nice. And I like the fact, as I said, that a lot of the hoods on these were open. So this American LaFrance 400 fire engine, 1935 time frame, Norfolk, Nebraska, until 1960s. V12 produced almost 250 horsepower, top speed over 60 miles an hour. Beautiful job. Really like the work done around here. And then there's signage that talks about how power comes through and changes the firefighting profession. We come up to this guy here, and it caught my interest. It's a Champion Christie water tower, 1897 to 1915 by the signage. And what this allows you to do for the Toledo Fire Department, Toledo, Ohio, is to come up to a fire, raise this thing up, and put water from the top down, where the fire guys would, the hose guys would have limited access to how high they could get water due to pressure and due to position. It's kind of cool. I really liked it. And how propulsion came in. Just one of the interesting signs around the museum. We came up to this one here, and unfortunately the picture's slightly blurred, and I think I took it 3 or 4 times. I just couldn't get it to be clear. But it's from Downers Grove, Illinois. Now, at one time I worked in Downers Grove, Illinois, and Downers Grove, Illinois is real close to where Joyce and I both grew up. And this truck came out of Downers Grove, Illinois. Another Seagrave. Seagrave did a lot of fire trucks. My dad used to call these bullnose Macs. And when we were growing up, these were running, this type of truck was running around as classic stuff, early 1950s classic stuff. And when it's in the 1950s and it's classic, you know it's old, particularly today. 1922, it was a Baltimore Fire Department truck from the Army after World War I, it looks like, according to the signage. Kind of interesting. It's got the people are going to jump in and you're going to try and catch them in the trampoline type thing. Hope you don't bounce them too high going along the way. There's other stuff around the museum, and these next several slides are parts of the signal box system where people could call in alarms by going and flipping a switch in a signal box. Sometimes you would find telephone type apparatus in them where you would call a dispatch office and tell them what you needed. Then how does the distribution or dispatch office send them out to the firehouse, and that stuff was a lot of that stuff was sitting around here. And there's actually a one of the dispatch offices from the city of Phoenix is actually on display here, and they have some scanners. A display of helmets from various fire departments and eras, more trinkets and stuff associated with firehouses and whatever else, and really nicely done. Then out on display they have a Seagrove V12 model 990 900 engine, 1947 time frame, and this is in a lot of the trucks. So really nice job. I wonder if this thing were put on a test stand, if it could run. Cucamonga is a city just north of us here in Ramona, and we go up there every once in a while. Lots of different eras of equipment in here, from as old as they can get to pretty darn new. And coming up on the last thing that we're going to show you, this New York Fire Department rescue unit was one of the units Rescue 4 responded to the World Trade Center on 9/11 2001, when the World Trade Centers were taken down by terrorists. The Pentagon was hit, and the last airplane landed in the field of the 4 hijacked planes. Here's some information on the Hall of Fame Museum of Firefighting. Highly recommend, if you have the opportunity, stop by, see it. I gave you a sampling of what's there. I have about 200 photos that I took in about the 2 hours we were there. Really good signage. The docents are really super. Clean museum, a lot of lights, a lot of stuff to see, and really enjoy it. And highly recommend you go over there if you're in the Phoenix area. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.